Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you have no idea who I am, my name is Bella Simone and this is a personal development channel, but it is also a spirituality channel, a lifestyle channel, a chit chat. It's everything. I don't like to box myself into anything. Just now I want to talk about something else and I'm like, oh, but then it doesn't match with what I said this channel was about, blah blah blah. You understand, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, like I said, my name is Bella Simone. I am an entrepreneur, I am a life coach, and I am I'm a content creator, yeah, amongst many other things that I am. Today's topic is divine feminine awakening. There's a lot of divine feminine awakening happening for myself as a divine feminine. I love to see it, and I just want to talk about how, even with the topic of boxing ourselves in, when I started to be more intentional of getting into my femininity, I used to watch a lot of videos on what it looked like or what it meant to be a woman, and you would see these videos where people are talking about, as a lady you must do this, you must have this, da 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 da, you must walk like this, you must speak like this, da 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 da, and you get into that, and then you get into, there's another community that talks about dark feminine energy, for example Shira 7, that talks about dark feminine energy, and this da 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 da. And then there were like those two worlds where at times I felt like they were pigisana, you know what I mean? I felt like there were content creators who were making feminine content, this light feminine energy, dark feminine, da 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 da, until I realized that as a woman, you do not have to box yourself into anything. You don't have to live within a matrix of an idea of how you have to act or how you have to be to attract this, or you have to be this size for this type of person to like you. You have to be like that for this to happen. It's a matrix. It is a matrix. Let me tell you, when I mean it is a matrix, any idea that you box yourself into and you kind of like put yourself in a system and you act according to a system, it's a matrix. Coming into my femininity has made me realize that like I am fully a woman in all the ways that I express myself. I am fully a woman, like I contain multitudes. As a woman who was raised by really, really strong women, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother are these multi-dimensional women. My great-grandmother had a soccer team. She had like, not a soccer team as in children, she had like a literal, like a soccer team that played soccer, She had so many other things going on for herself. She had, she was really like decentered from men in a sense that she was just living by her own rules. My grandmother's the same. My grandmother is such a tomboy, and I feel like it's so crazy. It's actually crazy when I think about it, because now that like I've grown and I'm able to observe my parents and my family as individuals, not just as ugogo no mama no koko no bani. Like I see them as individuals and reformed individual friendships and relationships, and I'm understanding their personality so much more. It's so nice to see that, because my grandmother is such a tomboy. She's like a tomboy, but she's also like, she has her days where she's very much like, she loves her dresses and she loves but at her core she's a tomboy. There was a time I actually thought she was a lesbian, but that's another not that there was any kind of lesbian things, but I was getting very lesbian energy from my grandmother. But yeah, she's very much a tomboy. My mom, who I talk about on the channel a lot, like a real gangster, the #1 G. I love how my mom moves from her feminine to her dark feminine energy. Oh y'all, my brother's coming, I'm sorry. Hello? Okay, so like I was saying, I grew up, seeing different expressions of femininity and womanhood, and there was not this one thing where it's like, oh no, you're not feminine enough because you're doing this, or this is this, or this, but now it's like we're in a generation where we're taught how to be women, and I feel like it's because there are so many other aspects of ourselves that are being suppressed, so much energy that we can tap into, when we're not trying to be this one linear expression of what femininity is. And if you see these expressions of what femininity is being taught to be right now, all of it is like male-centered femininity, you know. It's all according to like the male gaze and being palatable to men and being like, oh, I'm submissive and I'm sweet because light feminine energy. If you want him to buy you a bag, you need to, baby. You know, that's another thing that I've really wanted to talk about for a long time, and I understand that, like, I even made a video about this on TikTok, that I know sometimes, I know that it's contradictory for me to say this because I had participated for a long time in making, you know, hypergamous content, but I'm still hypergamous. I say that all the time. I'm still hypergamous, you know. But I've participated in making that type of content, but at the same time, I think that was kind of a testament to the relationship that I had with money at the time. Because if you are saying that, you know, you have to act a certain way for a man to buy you a bag, you need to be like this, you're outsourcing your power. You're saying that this person is my provider, and the only way that for them to provide is if I act like something other than what I want to act, or something other than who I truly am, you know? And I think that's why now, with the conversation of decentering men, a lot of women are then returning to themselves and returning to their divinity, returning to their spirituality. A lot of women are coming into their divinity because there's this like rejection of what is palatable to men, and not even just a rejection, it's taking back of power. And I've said this before, that I genuinely feel like women are being stripped of their power, and we're being taught that, yo, you have to be submissive because and I've said this before, that if I truly am naturally submissive, if people say women are naturally submissive, I don't understand, why do you need to remind me so much? I've said this already, you know. If I'm naturally submissive, how are you gonna remind me all the time that you have to submit, you have to submit? And which female anything in nature do you see submit easily to the advances of men? Where, in which? Because when you look at nature and you see the mating rituals and whatever, there's never the female who's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take the first man that comes and dances, or that comes and gives me a pebble, or that comes and gives me a seed. Show me the reason why you feel like I should be procreating with you. And that's why I'm saying that I'm still very hypergamous in the sense, but at the same time, the sold idea of what hypergamy is and what femininity is literally just like a capitalist agenda to get women to like sell products and advertise this and become more materialistic. And our relationships have also become so hollow. I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday where I was talking about how I don't understand how, like, a man, all he has to bring to the table is money, and you have to bring all the steps, and you have to be like, I'm like this, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm da. But we're seeing right now in media where there's so many things that are glorified where men just do not have really much substance. Like, and I don't understand. Like, for me personally, there's never going to be a time where in my life I'm engaging with a man that doesn't give me any kind of intellectual or spiritual substance outside of his money. You know, there has to be something that I'm sitting down with as a man in other areas of life. Because if you're just gonna say, oh yeah, and I'm just bringing money and then that's it, and then I'm just gonna act however the way that I have to act, and at the same time you see these women that are stuck in homes where they are the prayer warrior of the home, and the man is just out there living his life, and they're like, no, pray for your husband, pray for your husband. Your husband is not sleeping at home. Your husband doesn't have a relationship with these kids, the same kids that he wanted and pressured you into. Pray for your husband, prayer warrior. Baby, miss me. There's a show called, I think, I'm a Hot Man. I've never watched it. I don't want to lie to y'all and make like a very elaborate observation about it, but from the snippets that I've seen on TikTok, I was traumatized, because I'm just like, okay, cool, these are grown men that, you know. The other lady, I think I saw a snippet where the lady said to her husband that, please talk to your son, blah 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 blah. I'm like, why would I have to have a conversation with someone to parent their own child? And at the same time, they're out there being like, oh, I'm happily married, blah blah blah, and they're showing themselves basically at groove with like women, and they're like, yeah, you know, this is how it is because we be dancing with the girls. Ngicela sibe neyinhloni ezabantu abamnyama, ngicela ukuthi sibe neyinhloni ezabobhuti babantu abamnyama. Iphelile lento leyo yokuthi, I'm sorry, I know this is very serious now, that's why I'm speaking in Zulu. I think inhlonipho emadodeni iphelile, like to the respect of manhood iphelile, but women have to go and have these like respectability politics of how you don't do this, you don't speak like that, you're a lukewarm Christian, you're a whatever, and we're holding each other to these standards of as systematically oppressed feminism. And I feel like a lot of women have lost their sense of purpose, you know? They've lost their sense of purpose in a way that, Uti, just because you have certain things, you don't feel the need to pursue the things that you really want. For example, my channel, this channel is very small, you know? This channel is still a small channel. And as you can imagine, it's not like I'm surviving off the channel. And at the same time, I know that it's my purpose to make this type of content because I understand who I am and I understand who I am spiritually. So I know that for me to make this content, whether this content pays me 50 cents or what, is the fact that the purpose that I have in life is to make this type of content. I've understood my calling in life, you know what I mean, amongst other callings that I have, because again, you don't have to just be this one-dimensional person who does this one thing. As in Yizinto, I can't say, nah, because this doesn't make me money, then I'm not gonna do it, but at this, because I want to focus on having all the nice things and pretty things and Instagram nan. Follow your purpose regardless of Uguti. You think that this makes money or that doesn't make money. Yes, I'm not saying quit your job and focus on the fact that, you know, you feel called to whatever, but there's a purpose in your life that you're being distracted from, and you're being distracted from it because you think that what true success is just the nice things, and as long as you have the nice things, you don't have to actively participate in your purpose. If you know that you have to be a writer, you know that you have a talent for writing, write. I don't care who's watching, who's reading your stuff. It's people in your family. Write. You know, if you feel that you have a talent in something, it's your purpose, do it. Right now, it might not be gratifying, because another thing, we're addicted to instant gratification in our generation. You want to quickly pop off. You want to quickly have the thing. You want to quickly get the da-da-da. You want to quickly... I know that if I was on this channel and there were certain things that I was talking about and I was like, oh yeah, let's get the bags, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. So don't say I'm talking about anybody in, you know. I'm just saying that I could change my content and focus on something that I know that, oh, this is going to push the numbers, and when it pushes the numbers, then in. But I will know deep in my soul, I'm not called to do that. I'm not called to do that. All the women who are trusting me in my ancestral bloodline, who I understand what they brought me here to do, and then I'm just like, no, but that's not going to make me any money. Nobody's going to watch. Who gives a toot? Who gives a toot? You have to do what you're here to do. You know what I mean? Yes, there are other things that are going on. I love pretty things, like I've said before. I love nice things. But I understand that there's a certain purpose in my life that God has called me for. And right now, we're living in a life where there's no sense of purpose. It's just about what, you know, let me get the material things. Let me do this, da-da-da-da-da-da. Cool. You know? Yes, the material things are nice. They're nice. But, you know, you really need to step into your divine feminine. You have to step into your divine feminine and understand what your purpose is in life. Because, manje, sesiyaphila nje. But I love the fact that so many women are coming into their divine feminine awakening. We are awakening, you know what I mean? My friends and I are having these conversations. I was asking my friend yesterday, I'm like, it makes me nervous that so many women are coming into their divine feminine awakening. A lot of women are becoming vakar, because the thing is with women, we're highly spiritual, highly spiritually sensitive beings. So even if we participate in certain things, you know? And I'm like, a lot of women, there's a lot of divine feminine awakening happening, but I don't see that with the men. I was telling my friend Ubusi, and I'm like, what do you think is going on? Because these are the same men that we're supposed to procreate with. And it's one thing to say that, oh, I don't need a man, da-da-da-da. Baby, you know deep in your heart that you want a man. But now we're having children with these men, and as you can see, there's a lot of baby mama culture and all these things. And I was asking Busi, I'm like, friend, what do you think is going on? She sends me this text. I was like, girl, I'm gonna quote you on my video tomorrow. So she says that it's a spiritual attack, and Obviously, anything men do also affects women and children, tearing down women and distracting them and pulling away from their spiritual power, driving women so crazy they become male-centered, distraction. Children, best time to kill a king is when he is a kid. Right? Let me tell you the best. Oh my God, girl, that's the thing with my friends, divine feminine. That divine feminine, it's like having conversations with my friends is like delicious. Like I look forward to it. Like when I go to see them, I'm just like, oh my God, like I just know something in my mind is gonna go ding. Best way to kill a king is when he's a kid. And this is what I'm talking about when I say these are the same men that we have to procreate with, right? We have to procreate with these men, and what they now look at as manhood is this type of manhood that we have, where they're like, oh, okay, sure, all I have to do is ngithole inyungu ngibe sharp, abogeli bayangithanda ngithenga VSOP every weekend, ngithole bimanyana ngiphusha imeki ngihlala endaweni, so that's all. There's no example of manhood like it was dala, where indoda bekuyindoda ehlala ehlonishwa ibamba ama meeting ebizwa umndeni ukuthi sicela ukuthi ulawula uzibanibani, sicela ukuthi ulawula uzibanibani. You know what I mean? Like there's no head of the family. Head of the family doesn't mean head of the family ukuyena urekileng jwala ko mkiteng or kena wensing. Manhood has shifted on such a deep level that it's scary, you know. And that's why I was asking my friend, I'm like, what then happens? Because now that we're awakened, we have a lesser choice in terms of, you know, if you say, okay, cool, I'm this type of woman, I feel like I'm a divine feminine and I'm walking into this and I want to have an intentional life and this is how I want to raise my kids, and which partner do you then choose? Because now you have to see what's okay, cool, obviously I have to choose someone who can provide, who is, you know, sound mind king, yeah, sound minded or whatever, and all these things. And when you look at your options, you're like, these cannot be the pastels. So, and at the same time, I feel like as women, the more that we're becoming awakened and the more that we're making choices of like, okay, cool, no, you guys have to like step up and do this right. You understand? Because where the woman goes, the culture goes. And the more that we awaken, the more that we are stingy with our wombs, is the more that the men are going to be like, actually, they're not sleeping with us no more, because they can see that all we have to offer is this, you know. And now you have to be, you at least have to be something in a substance, you know what I mean? As a man, umuntu substance. Like for me, I cannot, honey. Like as someone who is dating, I can't. Like if somebody comes at me funny, I'm like, no, because I understand who I am in the spirit so much that I imagine that and they have to be subjected to this as well. Baby, when we say that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, I want to be the wildest dreams. I want my ancestors to be thriving through me. You know, I want them to be so happy and thriving through me. And that's why, you know, there's so many things that are easy for me in life, because I understand what I'm called to do. And I'm yes, there's challenges here and there, but I understand who I am and what I'm called to do. You know, I did say that I was going to tap into some, you know, ancestral topics, spirituality, but I'll get into that. It's not something that, because for me, as I am learning, I'm also trying to teach, you know, but I'm not someone that's going to say I know everything. I don't know everything. But one thing I know is that I've been called to have a certain voice for the divine feminine awakening, you know. And yes, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Do follow me on my social medias. It's Palisamoon on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time.